All right, news on the go. Let's toss you over to Parliament. The Portfolio Committee on Police, as well as that of Justice and Constitutional Development, meeting today to consider a draft report on the request to consider allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. We'll speak to you about that in just a moment, but in another sitting in Parliament, the Higher Education and Training Portfolio Committee is currently meeting to discuss the panel that was apparently assembled to appoint the SETA board chairs, a controversial step, it seems, that ultimately led to the axing of Minister Nobuhle Nkabane. Speaking now is Committee Chair Nobuhle. Let's listen in.
And we release them, and then we continue with the second part, because there were other parts, the DG, that members wanted to raise with the office. Those ones falls under the department, then we'll still need to continue with that part. So that is what is going to to happen. And I'm saying this is even when you argue it, we want you to argue us, tell us legally this is where we're wrong. Political statements are very nice and good, but now we're dealing with a legal matter. And then when I'm going to note you're going to speak on this matter, and it must be clear that if you say you don't agree with the proposal, on what legal principle are you basing this thing on? So I'm going to note you. I'll start with you, Honorable Zondo. I'll follow with you, Honorable Khakha. I'll go to Kize, and I'll go to Governor. I'll go to Desiree. I'll go to Nkabane, and then I'll end with Souls in this round. In that order, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to make a point, a legal point here. Who's calling me now? So I'm opening my clock. Honorable Sliba.
No, thanks, Chair. Greetings to you, greetings, DG, honorable members of Parliament. Greetings to everyone. Mine, Chair, I think, Chair, now we have new tendency, Chair, to nesizulu sithi usifaka amahanisi senze ihashi njengesizulu sithi usifaka amahanisi manje as members I think we have a right to express our thinking on the matter, and not being directed to say you have to say this and not go to this direction. I think we got into this matter because there was a public cry of some inconsistency or a feeling of that there are some processes that were flaws in the process. And then when we were deliberating on that, then it's come to a point whereby the minister, we felt he lied under oath or mispresented the facts. Then that is the second part of this process. But the first part was to get into the bottom of the process, of which the key role players, I think they are in the house today, of the process that made the minister to mislead the public. So I think when it was not our aim to remove the minister or for the president to remove the minister, we will say then because the president has removed the minister, then it's okay, the process is okay. That is not the case. We have a case here. We have a key role players who will continue to play that role that they are playing in the department. And we need to get to the bottom of that chair. That is my take on the matter.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Chair, firstly, it would serve this committee great justice to give us the legal codes that legal is basing their decision on, particularly because once we have that, then I would call for a caucus break for all parties to consult their legal opinion on this, because it does not make sense. One, this meeting was called in the same way that the previous meeting was called, where Advocate Nkabane and Nkabane were present, and we were able to engage them and ask them without the minister there. There's nothing that is stopping us from engaging Solani, from engaging Simane, from engaging Ngwenya, and the whole lot. There's also nothing stopping this committee from calling Nobuhle Nkabane back in her capacity as a private citizen to come account for the role that she played as part of this committee's efforts to holding previous and current administrations accountable for the work that has to do with the state's coffers. So if Nobuhle is not here today, if Dr. Nkabane is not here today to respond, in the same way she wasn't there last week Friday and we were able to engage others, I move that we continue to engage the people who are here today. We thoroughly do what we did the last time, and then she be called back and come. In the same way that this parliament has in the past exercised its muscle and teeth to summon people who sit outside of the executive to come and account before parliament. There's nothing stopping our job here altogether. And I also want to caution, Chairperson, that when legal gives an advice to parliament on how parliament must conduct itself, it must apply itself not in alignment to a rigid way of viewing the role of parliament, but do so fairly in the spirit of what this parliament, and not just this committee, is supposed to do. Whether Nobuhle Nkabane is minister or not does not change the fact that she lied, she committed fraud and a statutory offense. The law will deal with that. It's good, but these people are here and they must respond.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the members of the committee and the members from the department. Yes, Chair, it is only fair to give the members who were not present last week to also read their statement for record, perhaps to also engage them. Even though the minister may have been asked to stand down, but they are still officials of the department. We need to solicit some facts around them, engage, and see what could be the way forward. Chair, thank you.
So for that, I get that minute that you didn't use. Chairperson, I agree with my colleague, Honourable Khawu, that we actually take a break to get our own legal advice. We're busy communicating. But here's the point, Chairperson. Every single person that we summoned to appear before the committee was summoned on their role. It's got nothing to do with the previous minister or the new minister for that fact. They are summoned on their actions. We could not have people coming, pitching on our summons call, and others on our, can just go. I think those who are present, I support that, must present, and those who are not here will still come and present. We're not going to let it go. But I support the break, so we will also get a legal opinion. There is nothing in the world more important than the constitution of our country, and that is that we will all be treated equally before the rule of law. People were summoned, they will come and testify and read out and be questioned like all the others did last week. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. No, I think maybe one must first welcome the decision of the President. I think it gives clarity to some problems that we had in the department, but also looking at the transparency reasons and other measures, maybe we must allow the panel to present and account on behalf of the portfolio, because Our decision, Chair, was not to remove or have a new minister either way. We wanted accountability and transparency in the process. So the transparency that we needed, it's still needed so that it guides even the minister on continuation and running the department. So I do believe that they must present. And if needs be, that we still need to see Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, we will call her on her private capacity of the role that she played in the panel and in the establishment of the panel and how she came about to SETA chairpersons. Thank you, Chair.
Dr. Nkabane.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues and all the invitees. Look, Chair, I support your proposal. From my side, Chair, I don't know where this portfolio committee have to decide. I agree with it to take.
Zondo.
I agree with it to take the people who caused this chaos into account. That one definitely I agree. Well, what I would like to guide, Chair, the committee is its responsibility holistically to hold the Department of Education account and to make sure that the student that we are serving benefit from our presence here. That's what I would like to focus on. And we need to decide as this committee whether we are a commission of inquiry or forever taking people to questioning people and all those stuff, or we want to clean up the higher education and make sure that those that are evasive are taken into account. That's a thing we need to decide. What I would caution us is this prolonged and protracted of dealing with these people whom you see that they are evasive, and we have to rope in the arms of the law or the legal part to take them into account, because we cannot be protracted on endless, similar to commission of inquiry of all those sort. I actually congratulate this committee for what it has achieved with the President's announcement. This committee have done very well. And to continue with what we're doing, no one must come here and think we are fools and do as they wish and corrupt the entity and rob the children that needs to benefit from this department of their future. So I think I support, Chair, what you're proposing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sols.
Honorable Chairperson, there's wisdom in knowing when to stop and move on. This cannot now become about the former minister. It was about accountability and what was done wrong. The question before us should not be, should people be held accountable? The answer is yes. The former minister should be held accountable. The question should be, should that accountability process continue in this committee? That's the question. There are other processes, parliamentary processes, where she would have to appear. And the statements that we received was what we were going to use as evidence to probe. If I'm now going to ask these questions again, Chairperson, I'm going to get answers like I'm answering for myself. I'm going to get answers like, and what are we going to use it for? Let us not be emotional. We have achieved our aim. We have done what was in our power to do. Let's now hand it over to the other structures to deal with it, and then we provide oversight, because it's still a matter that impacts our committee and our sector. So we can be watchdogs over it if we want to. But here, let's move on. Let the evidence be given in the other structures where this matter will still be continued to be heard, and let us continue with what we still have jurisdiction over. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I like how you guys time yourself. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds, you close it. Today, you're doing well for yourselves. Colleagues, there's a principle in law called the Principles of Natural Justice. What does it do? It says if somebody alleges, in order for you to give an opinion over what somebody has alleged, you must give the other person who is alleged against a responsibility to respond in order for you to close the matter, right? So legal says that the minister, we were questioning whether the minister lied to this committee. This is what we're doing here. Whether the minister lied or misled this portfolio committee by saying that she had an independent panel that dealt with them. That is why we asked the meeting. I will refer you to your own resolutions of the meetings of the 18th of June. What you do say there? You said we want to get to the bottom of whether the minister lied or not. And therefore, Chairperson, write to the panelists and ask them to give us written responses by the 25th of June and tell us what is it that, what was their role in this thing, whether this thing existed or not. But you colleagues said, we want to prove that the minister lied or did not lie. So that is the primary reason for this thing. That is what, now the minister, whether she lied or not now, there's nothing that we will do. She's no longer in our space. There's a different committee that now can deal with that particular issue. This is the ethics committee that Honorable Khakhaus did there. But we can't, when we continue with the matter, legally, Phumelele, maybe help us. Legally, how will us continuing with the panelists help this committee? Because you remember, committees are created under Section 55 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa on behalf of Parliament to do specific job, which is to do oversight of the ministry and the department of that particular issues. So we can deal with issues, for an example, on social development. Even though we're members of Parliament, in this committee, we can't deal with issues of social development. So Phumelele, this is what I informed members. I've given them time to I don't remember any of them giving me any legal thing, except us asking that they are consulting. No, you did not. Phumelele.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings, everyone in the House. My name is Phumelele Ngem. Chairperson, just to zoom straight to the point and the question that you have posed to me, there is definitely nothing wrong with what the members have indicated in respect of their oversight functions within the portfolio that they are mandated to address. However, Chairperson, there is an interface, as you have already pointed out, between the purpose and the actual intention of the meeting for today that is interfaced by the provisions of the Constitution, which in this regard, as you've already pointed, it's Section 55, which gives that power to conduct oversight over the portfolios that fall within the subject matter of the mandate of that specific committee. Then there is also the powers which the committee was exercising within Section 56, but more so, I think the main gist is under Section 92 of the Constitution, which is between subsection 2 and 3. And if I may just quickly, Section 92 is about accountability and responsibility that is placed on the Cabinet. And I guess that is where the main part involving the main role player in this matter and the purpose of the meeting was addressing and receiving reports or evidence in that respect. So the interface between Section 92 and Section 55, Chairperson, needs to be unpacked further as for the purpose of this meeting and the conclusion that will be required for purposes of this meeting having started and having gone in the manner with the events that as they unfold, Chairperson. And so, Chairperson, that being said, and in light again of Section 55 and the department being a continuing entity that is still in place, obviously, that still needs to be maintained for purposes of oversight, as well as for the completion of the report, Chairperson. And in that regard, Chairperson, whatever has been indicated and whatever has already transpired, it is within the powers of the committee to decide and to dictate whether there is still a point for further more evidence that can or cannot help them reach a conclusion as to where the matter is and how far it has gone. And that was the point of our opinion to clarify, Chairperson, whether evidence and everybody who has been called continues for purposes of finding a conclusion into the matter and the purpose that this meeting was initially meant for. That is the main question that needs to be addressed. And I think the last part, Chairperson, I should be speaking to or indicating relates to the other procedural matters as to where best the matter will be located and finalized. As we would understand, there is Powers and Privileges Act, which guides further what specific committees and the rules of Parliament and alludes into the powers that each committee has. And as I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with what each member has indicated here, but we need to be certain that moving from where we are and what has transpired, who is best placed in terms of the rules, in terms of the Constitution, and in terms of the powers that are enabled and extended within the relevant and applicable legislation. That was the point in summary of our opinion and suggesting the direction in the manner that the Chairperson articulated. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. If you can just give it in English this time. Simply on two things. Whether there is merit on continuing with the reading into the records of the panelists when you know you will not have the right of reply by the minister. And I want to indicate that, remember, Dr. Nkabane was brought in this thing as the Minister of Higher Education. She's no longer a Minister of Higher Education. And the probe was whether Dr. Nkabane as the Minister misled this portfolio committee. So I want you to break it down in English for all of us, right? There's well, talking to legal now. Allow legal. The Minister was, these comrades or these colleagues were probing the actions of the minister as the Zondo. But you can't disrupt us, please. The probe was into the minister in the actions that she has taken as the Minister of Higher Education and Training. And that is where we entered. That is why no other committee would have probed the matter. It was because she was a minister. So I want you to clarify it for us. She's no longer a Minister of Higher Education. So you are probing her. If, you know, like some are saying, let's continue to probe her actions as the minister, and she won't be able to answer for herself as the Minister of Higher Education and Training. So the probe now probes the actions of the minister in her, and I'm not saying we must not ask, like I've already agreed that the former Minister Blade will be brought in to do something else. That's one we've agreed, and it's not about that here. But here the probe was, your action as the minister has brought us here. And these people are here to give their evidence against somebody, and this particular somebody will not be able to defend themselves according to that natural justice principle. Take us through the Pumelel. Are you saying that is allowed? If yes, what then? What probe are you going to be? What are we doing? Because the person is no longer a minister of this particular portfolio. You'll take us through that particular thing, and I'll then going to go back to responding to members what they've said themselves. Pumelela.
Important to add to you for the legal person to respond to.
Close your mic. Maybe let me indicate to you. Again, we've got rules in Parliament. You know, you don't just open your mic.
Jay, you must also give us an opportunity to raise an important matter that the legal rep must answer.
You don't speak over the chair. Those are the rules. Don't want me to exercise the rules on you. Yeah, no, I will. Yeah, so you must open the mic again without being given permission, you'll see. Pumelele?
Thank you, Chairperson. I think the main critical point to make and the gist in this issue, Chairperson, is that the committee is doing its functions, and its functions include ascertaining and obtaining evidence and getting information in various forms within the mandate and the provisions that I have outlined, because Parliament is a creature of statute. There's absolutely nothing that Parliament can do and its committees can extensively and extended do without a direct provision that is guiding the members what to do. So that said, Chairperson, I want specifically as an answer to read section 92(2) and subsection 3B for members without me having to interpret it or give any meaning to it. But as it states, it says, members of the cabinet are accountable collectively and individually to Parliament for the exercise of their powers and the performance of their functions. Members of the cabinet. Subsection 3B, members of the cabinet, in accordance with the Constitution, must provide Parliament with full and regular reports concerning matters under their control. The point we are at now, the Chairperson has alluded, the minister has been removed. The minister no longer falls within section 92. But the proceedings of the committee does not stop based on the fact that a specific person has been removed, because the Department of Higher Education still exists. Now, it is the ambit within which you must address what still needs to be addressed, that must be corrected and be fairly and procedurally and legally so. That is my response, Chairperson. Thank you.
No, thank you. There's a clear distinction between ministry and department. The department still exists, we all agree. And we're going, like I said earlier on, we're going to continue with that part. But the, what do you call this thing? The section 92, subsection 2 of the Constitution that says ministers or members of cabinet are individually and collectively accountable to Parliament. Means that Dr. Nkabane is no longer a false part of that. She's not a member of cabinet as things stand. So I fully agree with you. I'm going to give you, I don't know, is that a point of order?
Not necessarily a point of order. I do think it's fair that we are able to register alternative views or differing views. Mine is the legal advisors for Parliament is correct in that cabinet ministers are supposed to come and account. But there's a missing link here that is not being considered. Here's the link. And the link lists in 3 sets of legislation. One being Rule 167 of the National Assembly Rules, read concurrently with Section 14, subsection 2 of the Powers Act, the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act 4 of 2004, empowered under Section 56 of the Constitution. If Kibala alone, Chapter 5 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament, that subsection 14 of it, it makes specific reference, and I quote open, the committee can summons any person to appear before it to give evidence or oath and affirmation to produce documents. So while it is true that Minister Nkabane is no longer a minister of this reporting to this committee, what is true is that what we are investigating here, what we're conducting oversight here, is not concluded. This committee hasn't concluded its work. And so in order for us to give her the right of reply, which she can deny if she doesn't want to come get it, and then we can fight her to get it. But the bottom line is, if she doesn't want to come here, she's still an MP. It's very easy to give a summons letter to her for her to come here, as is empowered by the 3 sets of legislation that I've given you, as that being the case. Number 2, the point here is, which I think the legal team is saying, this committee can still continue with its work by engaging the any persons. So the argument of ministry no longer being there and therefore ministry no longer having a need to serve before this committee on an unconcluded agenda item of this committee, that argument doesn't hold. So if we're not going to have them today, then committee will have to move that they must be summoned to come back with their minister.
Okay. No one is arguing anything about summons. Yeah. No one is arguing. The point here is, when you are doing inquiry, maybe that's the point you guys are missing. What were you doing an inquiry for? Desiree, yes. What were you doing an inquiry for?
Well,
and if you say you want to continue, you are continuing with what?
Okay, I'll make it very easy, Chairperson, because you signed the letters that went to officials to come and appear, officials and panelists and whatever you want to call them. And that letters were sent to individuals, and it read, a request for information in respect of whoever they are, role in the advisory panel for the selection and recommendation of SETA's accounting authority chairpersons. So people were summoned to come and explain their role, not minister what. And I think it is greatly unfair to allow some officials, an advocate to come here on the bar in Joburg, to come and expose themselves, but others, we don't want to do that. And that unfairness is going to haunt us, Chairperson. And really, I also think we should also investigate the Public Service Commission on some of these matters, because that's also relevant.
Okay.
But we will not stop in getting people here to account.
Yeah.
Same as the previous minister. The officials or the panelist members got letters from you, signed by you, to come and explain their role. And this committee wants to hear that.
Yes. The letters, if you remember, I've said this thing. I don't think we're listening to another. I'll give you Honorable Nkabane. But when we sent them these letters, what was the context? The context was the members were saying, you believe the minister has misled Parliament about this panel, and you wonder. That's why when I wrote the letter, I said they must come and explain their roles. It was in that context of what you guys were doing an inquiry on. So don't move the context out of it. That's why I was saying, when you answer what was the purpose of this thing?
It's just gone 10:15 on this Tuesday, the 22nd of July. We're watching live visuals from Parliament, the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, trying to ascertain what ought to happen next now that Nobuhle Nkabane has been axed as the minister in this particular portfolio. The nexus question that they're wrangling over is whether or not it is still relevant for this committee to continue probing the panel that was appointed to see through to the appointment of SETA board chairs. To put it plainly, is it still within the committee's ambit to continue with this investigation now that Nobuhle Nkabane has been axed? There is no resolution as we stand. There's all manner of calls to consult legal on a way forward, and we'll certainly keep listening to that for you as the back and forth continues. But of course, the agenda, as always, is keeping a close eye on a number of other stories that are unfolding at this hour. In the High Court in Pretoria, the Senzomiwa murder trial is once again back in session after high drama that unfolded yesterday. It had to do with whether or not the suspects in this case should in fact have shackles on them. In fact, one of the suspects, we're told, was worried that this is starting to have or inflict physical pain on him. We'll keep watching that situation very closely to see how it unfolds. Also happening for you, of course, in Midrand is the continuation of the IEC vacancy interviews. Let me rephrase that. A panel which is chaired by Chief Justice Mandisa Maya is interviewing candidates for 3 vacancies in the IEC. One of them, we're told, must be a sitting High Court judge. We'll get you a sense of how all of that unfolds on day 2 of this process currently underway in Midrand. But let's take you back to Parliament, continue to listen into this back and forth in the Higher Education Portfolio Committee.
See that this matter has even moved towards its conclusion on its own. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Zondo.
No, thanks, Chair. I think, Chair, I don't want us to be seen as if we are fighting against each other, like there's someone who knows something that others they don't know. But the reality of the matter, Chair, last week, Friday, I said the 2 gentlemen who were with us in the meeting, I said they should not present their case. And the meeting said they should. And it's not fair to them to that because they respected the committee and came when we called them, and they were made to present their case on the matter. And I said, because the other ones are not here, let's wait for them. And the meeting said, let this one who are here present. So let's finish up, because we need to present the report of the matter to say that we got to this point. This is what the outcome of the people who were role players in this. So I think, Chair, let's give the rest, because there are allegations from the presentation of last week, which those who are here today, they need to present their case of what they know.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chair. I think we need to be fair on the matter. It will be the last day of the.
Yeah. So the material conditions of last week Friday have changed. Reality is, 2 colleagues who presented, the minister was going to have a right of reply. That's the big material condition that you are ignoring. I was going to respond because I know that some of you would have said we must ask them to speak, because there's no difference. The minister was still not there last week. Somebody said that. But the material conditions from last week and today are different. The colleagues who presented their case, the minister was going to be given a chance to reply to that part on what they would have alleged, right? These ones who you are saying we must, just because we must be seen to be fair, the material conditions don't allow. They have changed. The minister is not there to respond as a minister on this part. And don't forget, and I agree, this thing can't be a commission of inquiry. By the way, the issue of this panel is not legislated. It's not on any legislation. It was what the minister did herself. That is why it was, when you say it's her that must respond to this issue, it was what she termed an extra mechanism for governance, for transparency. That's what she did. So, unfortunately, the panel itself is not legislated. Even when you want to continue querying it, you must query it with that particular minister in his position or her position as the minister, because it's her who took that particular decision. Lonzi?
No, thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, the principle that we must take here, because we've got an opportunity as the Committee of Parliament to guide the future processes of the department and the ministry. So I don't want this matter to be personalized, that this is an individual matter. But part of the importance of getting the facts of the matter is that how do we avoid this from happening again in the future? And the only way of avoiding this process, because remember, one of the things that we're empowered with as not only members of parliament, but also as portfolio committees, is to introduce amendments to the Higher Education Act. I think it's something that we've always been speaking about. So at the end of this process, yes, the minister is gone, that's fine, we're past that, but I think as a committee we must be at a level of saying, if we were to bring in an amendment, how do we bulletproof this particular process of appointment of SETA boards, of appointment of NSFAS boards, and many other appointments in the department, such that we don't have this problem? Because actually, Chair, it doesn't only start when the minister lies. It starts in the appointments themselves, when members said, why are we having politically aligned people here appointed? Why are we having children of ministers appointed? So the importance of getting all the facts towards the conclusion of the matter is such that the committee must be able to present before Parliament, say, having traveled this route, we are now proposing that to create much greater integrity around appointments in the department, this is how the process must take place. Thanks, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, maybe if Chair, you would assist this House on giving a guiding or a certain decision where it says, because we were playing a role over this panel and everything that took place, we wanted accountability, we wanted transparency, we wanted to know how did it form part in playing the roles of getting the panelists. Now that the minister is not here, how do we then close this, or which report will seal this discussion in saying this was the stand, or these were the findings from the portfolio in dealing with...
Hold on. Colleagues, you've just spoken. Yeah, please.
So maybe, Chair, if we can get a clear direction on how we close the matter, because we can't close the matter on saying the minister was removed. We did not call for a minister to be removed. We wanted the minister to come and respond. We wanted panelists to come and account. We wanted transparency in the department, because for us to achieve all these problems that we have in the higher education department, it's through accountability and transparency, and us guiding and assisting all their problems in the department and making findings. But now if we'll just stop and say, the minister has gone, so it stops. I just wanted to find out then, how do we close the report? What do we say? Okay, these were the findings, this is what took place, then this is where we concluded that the matter must be closed and deferred to a next committee on the next level. Because us sitting here and debating won't assist either. We have so many challenges in higher education, but at least we must be guided on how do we then close and defer the matter.
Mkhize?
Thank you very much, Chair. And I think there's strong consensus in saying this was a formal process. It has to be closed in a more structured, substantive way, and a substantive report must be produced. And in that report, there should be clear findings on the conduct of the minister. And for you to do that, you need to collect as much available information for you to make substantive finding expressed in writing to make a report. It therefore makes sense, if I move with what Commander Nkabane has also said, to say we have to bring it to finality, but we can't do it haphazardly. There should be a substantive report which is very inclusive of all facts available. It therefore makes it necessary, as we are present today, to also add for us to make that substantive report as part of closing the issue.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have two proposals on how we move forward. I think the consensus in the room is that we must engage the panelists who are here today so that we can conclude our work. Two proposals. One, you are correct that the material conditions around the minister were different on Friday to today. You are right. That, however, doesn't mean just because she can't voluntarily come and because she's no longer in cabinet, that she's no longer supposed to appear before this committee. That's why then, to make sure that we thoroughly do our job and satisfy your concern about her right to reply, this committee and yourself and the chair you are sitting on give you the power to summon her to come and conclude on the matter. That way you can give her right to reply. So that's number one. Number two, Chairperson, what I'm asking here for us to consider is for us to not have these people go back. We must be able to engage with them today, let us ventilate and move forward so that we can wrap up on this thing. Whether ethics concludes to deal with her and her fraud, that's great. That's what the DA wants in any case. Public protector must do the same, so should the hawks, which they are busy with. So that is not an independent thing altogether. So if we're not agreeing, Chairperson, with yourself on the way forward, then I call that we vote on this matter.
It's very funny that you don't have voting powers.
All right, once again, these are live visuals to you from the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, trying to chart a way forward in the wake of the axing of Nobuhle Nkabane as the minister in the department. In fact, they're trying to ascertain whether it's still worth going ahead with their investigation around the appointments of SETA board chairs. We'll keep one eye and ear on those developments for you.